In my talk today, I outlined the landscape of EU-China relations by overviewing how a number of key issue areas, such as foreign direct investment, trade, the relationship of politics versus economics, and the reform journey that China has been undertaking, have been shifting over time, and that how there has been a change from one where broadly an optimistic viewpoint was seen as being the viable way forward for the bilateral relationship, to one now where there is an increasing amount of pessimism, and where perhaps overall the trust that was built between the two sides in the early stages of the strategic partnership is now being loosened, and that the values gap, which has often been seen as the major challenge between the two sides, has now morphed into a trust deficit, and that this inherently means that the future is more problematic, more likely to be tense, and has more inherent capability to be one characterized by pessimism. One of the things that I think is an emerging issue area of considerable significance in EU-China relations is the issue of norms. The EU is often seen as a normative power and is projecting its norms, its values into the international space. I argue that China is now an emerging normative power of its own, that these norms capture issues of trade, issues of economic model, as well as issues of politics such as human rights, and that China is now no longer on the defensive about its framework, but is now much more overtly confident to put forward its norms, not just bilaterally to the EU, but also in multilateral fora, such as the United Nations Human Rights Council, and also in initiating and supporting trade agreements, which are much more in keeping with China's interests, such as RCEP. This is something which I think is yet to be really evaluated from a European standpoint, and this is something which I'm keen to take forward. My next project is to create a second edition of the book that I co-authored in 2016, The Politics of EU-China's Economic Relations. I think that in that time there have been significant changes, and I wish to update not just the sectoral evaluation of trade, investment, technology, and other initiatives, but also look to the way that China has changed as an international actor in its own right, as a normative power with its own value system that it's confident to project, and with a leader that is now clearly embedded, not just for the present, but for the future, and what implications that has for not just EU-China relations, but the EU's role in the global system as it evolves with China's influence.